Six Nations Super Saturday, game number one, folks. Ireland get what they needed from Rome with a 22-17 victory, seeing them get the bonus point. So for now, they are on top of the Six Nations table, with obviously England and Wales and France and Scotland still to play. But geez, they had to work for it. And the Italians will absolutely rue the cards they gave away. They spent 20 minutes with a red card, 10 minutes with a yellow, and then a yellow towards the end of the game. Not helping your cause. When you get to a result which is that close, you got to look back at those yellow cards, particularly the Lamaro one, with a bit of frustration where they conceded 10 points. But yeah, it is what it is. At least they performed to a level which I think they can hold their heads high with. Nacho Brex at the end of the kind of game, post-match, on-the-field press conference interview, mentioned the same thing basically after some disappointing performances in the Six Nations, that they wanted to show their fans where the level was at. For the Irish, they get to send off the big guns, O'Mahony, Murray and Healy, who didn't play, with a victory. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts on this one. A lot of away fans, in terms of Irish fans in attendance for this one. Fields of Athenry belted out really early on as the game kind of had a, not quite a home feel for the Irish, but both sets of fans certainly found their voices. In the start was tentative. Both sides got pushed into the sideline. Fischetti had an intercept, the big loose head prop, which you don't see every day on a Gibson-Park pass. He hoofed it long, which put the Irish guys under a bit of pressure and gave the Italians the territory they needed, really, for the first try of the game. First try comes from Menoncello, stepping Mac Hansen, getting the offload and the tackle. Garbisi putting a dink through for Ioane. And, tried down on the left wing, and a conversion from Tommy Allan. So the goal kicking was certainly part of the reason this game was still as close as it was at the end. The Italian goal kicking was a lot more on song, 7 points to 0. Good start from them, and looking dangerous. Really, genuinely looking dangerous. Menoncello was probably man of the match if he's on the winning team. He had a barnstorming run not too long later from a scrum. It was only a Josh Van der Fleer scramble back tackle which stopped him from causing more havoc. So, yeah, Italy looking really good value for their 7 points to 0 lead early. That being said, Ireland did come back into it. Maybe not quite as sexy as like Dinkin kicks through and Menoncello line breaks, but like Beelum went really close to a try after a heap of Irish close range phases, but his one gets TMO'd for a double movement. They had advantage anyway. They end up with a 5-metre scrum, which ends up with the first try of the game for the Irish. Gibson-Park popping it to Crowley, who gets it to Keenan. It's a nice, well-worked try, and it's converted. So 7 points to piece. It's the only conversion the Irish slot in this game, though. And for the Italians, the bad news is they've been dropping like flies in terms of the forwards. They lost Dino Lamb, their lock, Lorenzo Cannone, their number 8, and Sebastian Negri, their number 6. So the fact they had a bunch of forwards on the bench was helpful because they needed them. They needed all of them really early on. We're talking before the 30-minute mark, so unfortunate for them. But the Italians, despite losing their forwards, were keeping the pressure on the Irish guys territorially with some nice kicks through. And when the Irish guys were pinged for being offside, the Italians took the lead again with a penalty to make it 10 points to 7. James Lowe was doing his best to disrupt. He couldn't get much ball in terms of from the Irish side, but he did get one intercept, which the Irish couldn't capitalise on. He went for another one not long later. Ended up kind of knocking it on, but the refs say it wasn't enough for a deliberate knock-on, so just a knock-on. But then, speaking of guys who tap the ball with their hands, Michele Lamaro, this honestly is, I feel like, maybe the losing of the game for the Italians, because it is soft in terms of the penalty and yellow card he gives away, and it is punished 100%. The guy is the usual captain. He's on the bench. He has to come on earlier than expected because of all these forwards the Italians have lost. And then when he's in a ruck and Gibson-Park is trying to clear the ball out, he just bats the thing down. It's a cynical play. It is a stupid play. It is 100% picked up by the TMO. I don't know in what world you're getting away with that kind of play these days. They pick up a lot of stuff. And he's way out in the open to be doing that. he gets himself instantly yellow carded, and Ireland punish straight away. 5 metre line out, maul time. Sheehan goes over. The conversion is well wide from Crowley, but 12 points to 10. The Italians were decent value for their lead. And Lamaro's yellow card just gave Ireland a golden opportunity, which they snatched. So Ireland take the lead into the break, and there's still a lot of yellow card time to come at the start of the second half. Like the run meters are 204 to 120 to the Italians at halftime. The clean breaks is 4-1. Defenders beaten is 17-8. And they've been tackling at 91%. So the Italians have been good value for their halftime performance, but they go in behind. The penalty count is the one area where they are genuinely behind. They've conceded 6 to the Irish 3. Second half starts. Mac Hansen, another one of these guys who's back into the squad. Line break really threatens the Italian line. Look, they were looking to punish 15-14. Crowley couldn't quite find Sheehan on the touchline. But it was close. They were threatening the Irish. James Ryan went close not long later after they'd turned over the Italians at their own 22. So Ireland really looking to punish. The TMO had to come in for that one again, but no try. But they did get it because they had advantage anyway. The Irish back for the advantage. Touch, maul, Sheehan, second try of the game for the Irish for him. And you got to wonder. I mean, the Italians didn't contest the line out. They set for the maul, but they couldn't stop it. I can't help but wonder, do you just contest the thing in the air? Because the Irish line out at times in the Six Nations has been under threat, but they stepped for the maul, couldn't stop it. Again, the conversion is missed, so it is only a 7-point lead for the Irish, 17-10, but that's 10 points in the yellow card. And with seconds left on the yellow card on the clock, Ross Vincent tries to put the pressure on the restart, but just ends up barreling into Hugo Keenan. It is head v head. He gets himself yellow carded. So, I mean, I know you're trying to put pressure on, you're trying to make a mark on the game, you're trying to push the Irish guys back, put some pressure on from the restart, but come on. You need to have that little extra bit of control. He doesn't have it, and that yellow card ends up getting upgraded to red. So we've got another 20 minutes where the Italians will be at a man disadvantage. During that time, it looks like Keenan gets himself a try, but that one gets TMO'd for a knock-on in the build-up. The referee says, I can't see it here from the screen, but I'll believe you, the TMO, that there's a knock-on. I think the ref gets that one right. But the Irish did get their bonus point try. It comes from Dan Sheehan. It's a hat-trick from him. It's probably the kind of sexiest, most highlight worthy try in terms of it not being a maul try. I love a good maul try, but this one is pretty slick. Gibson-Park changes direction with a wee dink over cross kick for Mac Hansen, who's able to bat it back in midair without getting his foot in touch. Sheehan is there as the kind of man who catches that bat back in, and it's a hat trick from him. So 22-10. It's looking like it's dead and buried. It's a misconversion, but yeah, the Italians are still a man down. They've conceded 3 tries in a row. It's a comfortable enough lead, 2-score lead. That's looking like it's going to be all over. But the Italians were not. They kept fighting, man. Menoncello with a kind of tip pass to Capuozzo. It's not very clean, but Capuozzo picks it up, and he dinks over the top and chases. And Mac Hansen's not able to field it. It's, the bounce of the rugby ball. You put yourself in a chance to score, and Varney is able to finish that one. So suddenly you're back to 22-17, and that is very much game on. But that's also the final scoring. The Italians had their chances. The Irish had their chances. James Lowe will be aggrieved that a try he potentially set up was flagged by the touch judge. I'm not sure if his foot was in touch. It looked like his heel was off the ground, but the touch he put his flag up. On first viewing, I was sure he was out. But on second and third viewing, it looks like his heel was in the air. But yeah, the Irish fan booed that one. But the ref said basically if the touchy put his flag up, and they can't definitely say he wasn't in touch, they have to go with the on-field decision. But yeah, the Irish had a bunch of chances to finish the Italians off, to put it beyond a score, but mistakes. Prendergast, who's come on, his wide pass to the wing ends up just in touch. They get loose ball, which they get turned over. So the Italians need to go 50 metres with a minute to go. Capuozzo's half break ends up with an offload into touch, which is probably all over Rover. But even if they had gotten a line break and scored from that one, it would have been chalked off because the TMO comes in once again for some Italian ill discipline. It's Nicotera, and he is trying to give Peter Romani the farewell he does not want because he just clocks him in the head. I wonder if they would have upgraded that to red if we'd gotten more game time because it didn't look great. He just lined him up and just smacked him in the head in a ruck. So he gets yellow carded. The Irish are able to tap it and just kick the thing out for the end of the match. So, yeah, honestly, the Italian ill discipline, very frustrating. Like, they played with a man down for a lot of this game, and the Irish punished them for it. I think the Irish guys will be a little bit frustrated. They couldn't get more pay with the man advantage. Run meters finished 312 to 305. The Irish edge it, but not by much. They have more ball, 55%, more territory, 59%, but the Italians, man, they showed some attacking prowess. They had 6 clean breaks to the Irish 4. They beat 28 tackles to the Irish 23. The Irish turnovers conceded 21-13. So Dan Sheehan also in his kind of little on-field interview mentioned that they coughed up a bit too much ball. I think he's right, but for the Italians, the key one, man, penalties conceded, 10-4, cards, 3-zip. Menoncello, like I mentioned, he's a demon. Like 9 defenders beaten 77 metres. He is a force of nature. Mac Hansen on his return, 5 defenders beaten 36 metres. Caelan Doris, 16 from 17 tackles. Zuliani had 15 from 17 when he gets a start. But yeah, for the Italians, it's a losing bonus point, which in terms of trying to avoid the wooden spoon, puts them a little bit of a step higher. For the Irish, like I mentioned, it's the send-off in terms of the win and the bonus point that they would have wanted for the legends who are ending their time in green. But yeah, we'll wait to see where Ireland will finish on the log, depending on the next 2 results. You guys let us know your thoughts. How did you feel about the Irish performance and the Italians? But that's it for these 2 teams for the Six Nations. I'm off to watch the next one. I hope you guys, if you're fans of either of these teams, have enjoyed some of the match reviews and teams of the week and whatnot. It's been fun to do them. 3:15 was the wake-up time for this one, but I feel like it's a edge of the seat match which justified getting up at stupid o'clock. Yeah, if you want to buy us a beer or a coffee, link down in the description. Thank you guys for doing that throughout the Six Nations season. It's very much appreciated. But yeah, cheers for being here. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And yeah, talk to you guys again soon. Ta-ra.